Hello there, my name is Anzu and this is my tiny house, aka the Wood Temple.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. The first 1,000 of my viewers to sign up through my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. And remember to subscribe.
I've started working as a carpenter and always dreamed about building my own cabin one day in the woods somewhere. Ideally on my own piece of land, but with current situation in the market and whatever, I couldn't see myself buying a house or buying a piece of land or anything close to that. I traveled a couple of years ago in New Zealand and did some volunteer work on organic farms and ended up staying in a tiny house community. They had 3 tiny houses almost in like a circle, and I got to live in one of them. And that's kind of when it first came onto my radar. I kept driving by this utility trailer sitting on the side of the road, and I'm like, oh, I could totally build a thing on that. And one day I just pulled over and knocked on the door, and it was like, hey dude, any chance you want to sell this trailer? and he got back to me a couple weeks later and said, he offered it to me for a really good price. It's smaller than I originally wanted it. It's 16 by 8. But you gotta work with what you get, right? A couple of years working as a carpenter and in doing a couple of reno jobs too. There's so much wood being thrown out and being wasted, and I don't know, kept saving wood in my garage. I'm like, I can find something to do with this, and yeah, just started with 16 by 8 square. I built the tiny house at the last place that I rented in the driveway, and all of a sudden the landlords weren't happy about it anymore, and they told me, you got 3 weeks to get this tiny house out of here. Like, the structure was done, it was all waterproof and everything, at the door in, and but I didn't have a fireplace, I didn't have any of the counters, I didn't have the stairs in yet, I didn't have the wheel wells covered, and no shelves, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was more like all the inside finishing stuff. That's the one thing that everybody who has built a tiny house is like, get as much done as you possibly can before you move in, because it's a pain in the ass to keep working on it once all your stuff is in there. You know, you get sawdust everywhere with all your clothes and everything. I don't know. So yeah, for those last 3 weeks, hustling every night, trying to get done as much as possible. This is the tiny house. It's built on a 16 by 8 utility trailer that I bought of a welding instructor at a university. Double axle, rated for 10,000 plus pounds. It was a little smaller than I originally anticipated building a tiny house, but my deck is 20 foot long and 8 feet wide, so big outdoor space that's covered from the rain with my whole workout equipment and pull-up bar, and I really want to be able to you spend lots of time outside, even if it's raining. The deck is all built with the same 4x6 timber that I used for the frame. It's all put together with screws, so you could take it all apart and move it. It was all called lumber from Rona. That's on these little concrete blocks and wraps all the way around. I mean, so far there's no other finish to it, just the shoshugiban. It's an old traditional Japanese way of preserving wood. The more you burn it, the more it preserves it. Traditionally, you burn it more, you wire brush it, and then afterwards you oil it. And I didn't burn it as much. I just really liked the look of it and didn't want to go too far. So this is my outdoor kitchen. I got a fridge here and a little propane stove. It all just runs off a 15 amp circuit. It's good enough for the fridge. Pretty open, simple. I just slapped up a couple shelves and keep my kitchen supply as minimal as possible. Yeah, this is my little seating area, reused, recycled. One of my sawhorses that I didn't need anymore, and a couple more boards for my old bed frame. Turned into a bench, and some offcuts of pieces of wood turned into little chairs. And this is one of those cable spools turned into a nice little round table. I got cedar shingles as siding. Very beautiful look, in my opinion. It's tedious to install. It's probably one of the most expensive and work-intensive sidings that you can go for, but I don't know, I think it's also one of the prettiest you can go for. Little storage shed edition. This is mostly leftover wood this time. I tried to have all my shingles nice and square and straight lines when you look down. With this, I just kind of went for it. Didn't measure anything, just cut, bang together, and just kind of try to get creative with it. And just right now I'm just keeping this open like this. Got a bunch of random stuff in there, tools, and yeah, just a bunch of unorganized mess right now. But most of this stuff was also this was reclaimed from work too, and I bought the flashing. I think that's the only thing I bought for this thing. Here's my cute little bike stand. It's just a little bit of offcut from that I still had kicking around. I'm like, well, you can throw it in the garbage or try to do something with it. Down here, there's a gray water pipe that I dug a trench here and then connected. If you follow me here, this way goes all the way along this way. Same together, dug in with the power cord too, and water. Water comes out of here. Power goes up there to the main building, and this is my shower slash sink setup that's not quite set up yet. The plan is to install a little propane on-demand heater, get this hooked up into the gray water line, and shushugi on the inside, which is again just a pallet boards that I burned, and yeah, water gets caught in the middle there and goes feeds it into the gray water pipe. This little composting toilet, yeah, pretty simple. I guess you can get a quick peek in it. Just a little box. Back here is a little. This is an old pig pen. There used to be a pig used to live here, and this was the pig pen. I there was a fence here too, which I tore down and then made a floor out of it. And so this is going to be my wood storage shed, and maybe for some garden tools or something. That's about it for the outside. How about I'll show you the inside. I've seen lots of tiny houses that were there, people trying to get everything into it. You know, they want a kitchen and they want this and and then it gets too crowded. Even though it's small, I wanted to feel open. Tried to keep it as simple as possible. I don't have any plumbing or electrical in the walls in this house. I have an outdoor shower, composting toilet out there, and all my cooking and kitchen area is happening outside on the deck. I feel like the beauty in wood is better than painting it a color, you know? It's like nature already made it perfect, you know? You just gotta polish it and oil it up a little bit and bring out the beauty that's already there. My wallboards are actually fence boards. It was the cheapest option at the time. It was all kind of call lumber too. You can see there's a couple of like, yeah, wormholes and like a little, you know, imperfections or whatever, but it smells nice too. Makes it smell like cedar. The timber framing, or post and beam, it's not real timber framing, it's post and beam style, but I really like that as a bit of a different way of building a tiny house. The posts are 4x6, and then the framing in between is 1x, well, 1.5 by 1.5, super minimal, just to basically hold the windows in place and have a tiny little bit of backing for the wallboards. This is my Cubic Mini tiny wood stove. I love it. It gets hot super fast and heats up the place pretty good. The only downside is you have to feed it like every hour. We got my my pull-up bar feature here in the middle of the living room, which originally was part of the trailer already when I bought the trailer. Decided to cut it off and put it up as a structural component into the framing, and to be able to, you know, crank out some pull-ups in the winter. In a way, I refused to draw up plans or anything. I just wanted to start building and feel like the next step will reveal itself once I start. With a lot of the shelves too, I just kind of had to put it up and see it, or sometimes I installed it even too and leave it there for a couple of weeks or whatever, and then I'm like, I'll switch it up again. A friend of mine just gave me this beautiful fir slab, which is kind of, it's all covered with stuff, but it's really nice. I'm very happy about it. And this piece and this piece were the same. I just cut it in half on the saw, and I traded it for a couple avocado trees that I grew from seed. Here was a fold-out table, and it had a couple benches on the side, and I'm like, I don't like it. I want to lounge. For the couch, I took my old bed frame apart and just reused the boards. I got two little drawers here. I got my put some clothes in there. Kind of unconventional stairs, you know, just a couple posts. It doesn't take away as much space as a whole staircase would do. You got to be able to climb a little bit, but I'm planning on being able to climb for for a long time. The loft is nice too. A lot of the lofts in other tiny houses are very, very shallow, and you know, like you can't really sit up. I can easily sit up here. It feels nice and spacious. The counter here was an old sign, and it was half rotten. I planed it down a bunch, and it's amazing when wood is completely weathered and almost looks rotten, and you hit it with the planer, the beauty comes back. Especially the old wood too. Old reclaimed wood has much tighter grain and is actually the better wood. So we got to develop a new way of appreciating that resource, you know, and reusing what we already have. Don't be shy to ask for help. You know, I mean, I did lots by myself. Mostly I was helping by myself, but then there were certain key points when I needed help, and people helped me out and make quite a bit of a difference. Just don't get too discouraged by all the thing that's all the tasks ahead or whatever. Just one thing at a time. Once you get started, and then the next step will reveal itself. In the end, it all comes together, but like so many little mistakes or like so many little things, like, oh my God, no, you know, and then, but you just gotta keep going, you know? You just gotta be like, okay, I've tried my best to fix it, and just keep going. So many moments where something went wrong, and I guess that comes with not making proper plans and draw it all up and plan everything ahead. I installed the fireplace, and the first time I didn't insert the chimney pipe through the insulated pipe, and it was just all of a sudden it started getting muck out of the thing. It started smoking up my house. But I mean, the good thing, like a buddy at work, he reminded me, he was like, you built this thing from the ground up, you know, everything in here, you did it, so you know exactly what is in there, and so it doesn't matter if anything breaks or if anything is wrong, you know how to fix it, you know what's in there, and just try your best to fix it. You can do it, you know. And yeah, it's just, you can't get discouraged by little setbacks. It's just gonna keep going.
Everyone needs to make money, and in the modern day, freelancing and entrepreneurship are great options, and Skillshare is a great place where you can learn those skills. Guy Kawasaki, who was marketing for Apple back in 1984, has a class called Art of the Start, turning ideas into high-growth businesses that can teach you essential skills needed for starting a business. And Skillshare is packed full of all sorts of classes on almost any topic that you can think of. There's great classes on animation, film and video, fine art, graphic design, music, photography, leadership and management, productivity, and even classes on lifestyle and marketing. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring and creative classes for anyone who loves learning. Invest in yourself and your personal growth. Do you have a specific skill that you're trying to learn? Skillshare is the perfect place to start. The first 1,000 of my viewers to sign up through my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. Support the channel by clicking the links below, and have a great day.